I'm back from the Switch 2 event. They got me a nice little backpack, and I want to talk about everything that I saw there. My understanding going into this was that it's basically gonna be like the current PC handhelds we have now, just made by Nintendo. At least that's how the games are gonna play. Now coming out of it, it looks like things are gonna play pretty decent on there. That's not to say that they don't already play pretty decent on the PC handhelds, but we're really nitpicking here. We're doing a lot of pixel peeping. We did get to play a handful of games. There were a lot of third-party games that were there that you could play. Pretty much all of the demos were vertical slices, and they were very locked down. They weren't full games. There weren't a lot of features in them. These were all demo versions of games. For example, Metroid Prime 4 was only in performance mode, but we did get to try out mouse movement, and we got to see the camera. We got to play Mario Party. We got to play Donkey Kong Bonanza. We got to play Cyberpunk, that Nintendo workshop thing that should be a packing game but isn't. And you know what? I feel like I got to do pretty much everything that I wanted to do. I would have liked to have spent a little more time in handheld mode. Almost all of these demos were docked in TV mode. The TVs they had were also incredible. They were definitely OLED 4K 120 hertz TVs. Overall, I liked what I played, and I liked what I saw, and I liked what I held. Everything felt really good. I was most impressed with the mouse mode. I think I'm gonna like that, playing at a desk. I play most of my games on my desk. And I think I underestimated a little bit how nice it is to have something that's like a PC handheld, getting all of the performance that these PC handhelds currently get, and also that Nintendo hardware and the backing of Nintendo, because you know all these developers are going to try to make things optimized specifically for this thing. And I say current PC handhelds because in a few months from now, I'm sure they'll already be eclipsing this Nintendo Switch 2, and this thing, you're going to have this thing for what, 7 years? So it's already going to be a little behind. But you're not getting it for the Cyberpunks. You're getting this for the Donkey Kong Bonanzas and the Mario parties, I guess. So this was not the press event that was yesterday. This was the event that was open to the public. Anybody could go, but it was like a lottery system. So you had to use your Nintendo account and enter a lottery, and maybe they'd pick you to go. Wood miraculously got accepted to go just through that lottery system. I got rejected. I suspect that they can see what your account's up to, and that Mario Maker level I made with we don't have to talk about it. But a fan of Wood's, who is overseas and can't come to the event, also won the time slot and sent it to him, and then he gave it to me. And then I got in, and everything's been great. And thank you everybody involved, and I love you so much. Again, this was not a media event. This is open to the public. So we were a little concerned about bringing cameras. I was 2 seconds away from bringing a big monopod and a big camera rig, because who cares? But it looks like at the bottom of the ticket, there's a little PDF, and you click on it, and at the bottom of this whole terms and conditions thing, it says no cameras. So we didn't bring our cameras. I had this cool little iPhone chest mount rig. So everything that I shot is iPhone footage. But hey, they do movies on iPhones now. It'll be fine. Everything will look fine. Everybody there was really nice. Everybody was great. We got to do everything we wanted to do. There weren't a lot of lines. It was very well managed. Everything was really good. The only issue was the line outside. Here's the footage from that.
This video is sponsored by Encore. This line for the Nintendo event's taking forever. Oh, I'm hungry. Hey, buddy! How much for a Knish? It's $3. But I'm not walking it over there. Oh, man. Well, if someone would be willing to pay for 2 Knishes, maybe I could walk it over. Hey, lady, you want a Knish? Hey, lady. Hey, excuse me. Hey, lady. She's not listening to me. Hey, lady, want a Knish? Lady! Hey, what's that line for? Some kind of Sega? Yeah, sure. Alright, kid, I'll tell you what. If you can go in there and find me a copy of Lethal Enforcers for the Sega CD complete in box with the Justifier, then maybe it's on the house. Are you serious? Where the hell am I gonna find that? Oh yeah, I can just use the Encore app. Encore is a marketplace for games and collectibles that emphasizes trust, community, and entertainment. Sellers post short video clips of their products for sale as either an auction or buy now listing. So instead of trying to pick apart tons of example pictures, you can just watch a video of the product. It's honestly a great way to check the condition of something. And all sellers are ID verified. The Encore guarantee protects you if your items come not as described. I got the app, bid on 2 Game Boys, and I won them both. There are also giveaways on the app that are free to enter and free to win. In partnership with Encore, I'll be giving away one of these IPS modded Game Boy Colors that I put together. Once you've entered a giveaway, you can up your chances by spreading the word. Get 5 extra entries per friend you bring to join the giveaway. Use my link in the description below to download the Encore app on iOS or Android and enter to win this Metal Gear Solid IPS modded Game Boy Color. You can find me on there by searching Wulff Den in the Sellers tab and looking for my big dumb face. Hey kid! I can't thank you enough. This has been great. I'm gonna go home and relive my youth that was taken away from me prematurely. All right. Hey, where's my connection? Too late, lady. Oh, you suck. I subscribed to Beat 'em Ups anyway.
So I figured the best way to go about this is just look through the camera footage together so that I can refresh my memory of what I did 2-ish hours ago. Started off the day with a beautiful cortado. Look at that. That's amazing. And yes, I brought my ROG Ally X with me, and there's a reason for that. We walked in and there was little display cases of all of the stuff that you'll get in the box. It looks just like the Nintendo Switch one. You got the grip, you got the little Joy-Con wrist strap thingies, you got the dock, you got a charger, which is better now. You have an HDMI cable. That's pretty much it. It looks and feels pretty much exactly like a dream hallucination of the original Nintendo Switch. If I handed you this Nintendo Switch 2 and you had no reference of what the original Nintendo Switch felt like, I bet you wouldn't even notice how much bigger it is. It's significantly bigger. It is really thin though. So let's just skip right to the point. I compared it directly to the ROG Ally X. It is still smaller than that, even though the screen is bigger. And it's like way thinner. It's the same thinness as the original Nintendo Switch. So all that power packed into that little small body, I'm here for it. It's kind of incredible. The reason I brought the Ally X specifically is because A, I use that all the time. B, people were already doing comparisons with the Steam Deck. I was going to bring that, but you can just look at those comparisons. This has a 1080p 120 hertz screen. So both of these have 1080p 120 hertz screens, and they're both LCD. The biggest difference between these two screens is that the Switch 2 supports HDR and the Ally X does not. But the Ally X looks like it might be a little brighter. I'm not 100% sure if the Nintendo Switch 2 here is at full brightness because the home button didn't work on any of these demo units. They didn't want you going to the home screen. They didn't want you messing around with the settings or anything. Otherwise, pretty much the contrast looks almost the same. I didn't really get a chance to directly compare me like playing a game on both of the consoles. I'm sure we'll get to that when I get my hands on this in 2 months from now. Do not be worried that this is only an LCD screen and not an OLED screen. The HDR more than makes up for it. It is very, very bright. The colors can be super saturated. There is a lot of contrast going on. The only thing that suffers are those black levels. The shadows don't look as deep black as they could on an OLED. But I think that's a decent trade-off considering we're getting 120 goddamn motherfucking hertz. I also really wanted to do this comparison. I don't have neon Joy-Cons at all. All these years, all these Nintendo Switches that I have, I just don't have neon Joy-Cons for some reason. I wanted to directly compare the colors because the blues and the reds are different on this Nintendo Switch. The neon Joy-Cons are notoriously hard to get on camera. It's hard to show off those bright colors because reds are difficult and bright reds are even more difficult. This is more like a salmon. So it is pretty accurate what you're seeing in the trailers and stuff. That's what you're going to end up getting. And that's fine. There's only one color. You take what you can get. We also got to see the new Pro controller, which I missed when they announced it, but it's going to have a mic input, which is a lot better. Towards the end of my gameplay with this, I noticed that the D-pad on the Pro controller is a little larger, and it felt like it was tactile snapping to cardinal directions. Like you can feel it wanting to go to a cardinal direction. I'm not sure if this is going to be better or worse than the old D-pad. I didn't get to play a game using the D-pad. I was just kind of futzing around with the D-pad. So I feel like it's possible they took the feedback that everybody had on the D-pad and tried to fix it, but I'm not 100% sure. I got this footage of wood. I'm so hot right now. It's been a long day. They were trying their best to rip the Joy-Con off of the Switch because it's magnetic, and you can just if you just go for it. You can rip the Joy-Con right out of the Switch, but you really have to go for it. You have to put some muscle into it. I didn't get to try this myself because I honestly didn't want to break the thing.
It's actually quite a bit of force.
Yeah.
In fact, it came off weirdly easy that first time, and then I kind of can't do it again. If you pull it from here, like I can't get it.
I'd be afraid to.
It's pretty sturdy. Obviously, we don't recommend that you take the Joy-Con off that way, but you know, you seem like somebody who's pretty strong and took some effort.
So strong. You see this guy? Tiny little hamsters.
I don't think you have to worry about it like falling off. You got to really put some muscle into it if you want to rip the Joy-Con off without disengaging the electromagnets. I think you'll be fine. The first game we played, they threw us into Mario Kart. Got to play a little bit with the Joy-Con grip. This was the first game that I got to play on the Nintendo Switch too, and I beat Wood's ass. I just want to put that out there. This is looking like 4K, high frame rate, not a single frame dip at all. Everything about this looked absolutely gorgeous. Sometimes it looked like some of the colors were a little muted, less saturated. Maybe that's just so certain things pop over others. Maybe it's because they got that weird sort of color range limited situation that the original Switch had. Maybe some of these TVs weren't that great, but it could also be an HDR situation. That really isn't a big deal considering how good this game looks overall. I'm not a big Mario Kart guy, so I don't want to like talk too much about the gameplay. You can grind on rails, which is pretty cool. They changed some stuff about some of the items. You now have a running start in the beginning of the match. You don't start from zero. You're already moving when the match starts. After that though, they let us play again using portable mode. And this is the same. Again, really high frame rates. I don't know if I noticed a difference between the 60 frames per second and the 120 on the device itself. But Mario Kart is like so smooth. There's absolutely no issues here playing this. And I keep bringing that up because later we'll have some issues with some first-party Nintendo games. I didn't realize that this was going to be like the most portable mode I would be playing the whole day, which is a little disappointing. I would like to see a lot more portable mode than just that. So from there, they wrangled us together and let us play again, this time in a different room. And this was the open world area, which is pretty cool. And I didn't realize this at the time, but everybody on one side of the room, I think it was 24 people, were all playing together in that open world area. And you like, I don't know, pick a match and like vote on the level you're going to do. And then it just spits you into a match. So this was all 24 real people playing against each other. And again, it was very smooth. I don't know how smooth this is going to be when you're playing online against people who are playing on Wi-Fi on their little T-Mobile hotspots in a Starbucks, but it ruled. So there's 24 people, which is a lot to be playing in one Mario Kart match, but there's checkpoints and they throw people out if you're too low. So if you're 24 and you hit the first checkpoint, you're out. I think you need to be like top 18 to hit it for the checkpoint or something like that. And it gets smaller and smaller. So there's less and less people playing as it goes on. It's almost like a battle royale. And I kind of really like that because then the more people it sheds, the better the game should run on Nintendo's terrible netcode. The match lasted kind of a really long time. I think I played for 15 minutes and I got kicked out. I was less than 8th place when I hit the 8th place checkpoint. So I got booted. So there's more to go. There's still another like 5 minutes left. So that's a whole 20-minute match. That's crazy. But yeah, I'm not a big Mario Kart guy. I don't need to play this, but this felt really good. I'm probably going to end up getting it, and I'm probably going to play it, but I don't know how much I'm going to play it. These are just shots of like how sharp everything looks with the 4K. I'm like zoomed in. Look at that. That's me. That's how sharp it is. From there, they threw us into another room that had just a jambalaya of games. You could walk around and play whatever you wanted. And we had this little like badge situation thing. And I guess you can only play 6 games. I didn't even get to play a 6th game. They would check off here every time you played a game. Some of these games didn't count towards this, but I got my fill completely. The first thing I saw when I was on the floor was Street Fighter 6. I didn't get to play this for some reason. I guess I ran out of time, but I did want to take a look at it because I was not convinced this game would look any good on the Nintendo Switch 2. I played it on the Steam Deck and it runs like ass. I think these demos were only 1v1 matches. These were not gonna let you go into the open world mode because I would have loved to have seen that because that runs particularly like garbage. These matches seem to run good. I saw people on Twitter saying that the input lag was virtually non-existent when people complain about the input lag on PlayStation 5 all the time. I suspect that might have something to do with the TVs too. These TVs, again, were really nice. You can kind of see that PC handheld look when you're looking at like the character's hair and stuff, but I wasn't seeing any frame dips. Everything looked really smooth, and that's really important. This might even be 1080p. I think that the resolution is low, but not that low. So I think that there's a potential that you get better performance here than you would on a Steam Deck or one of the low-powered PC handhelds. It's also probably specifically optimized for the Switch 2, and a lot of games are gonna get like that. They also had Split Fiction. I did not get a chance to play that, but that also had that like PC handheld vibe going on. Then I ran right over to Cyberpunk because that is going to be the best direct comparison between a PC handheld and the Switch 2. And it does look basically exactly like it does on a PC handheld. Now, if you've played Cyberpunk before on a Steam Deck, try it again because it is a lot better now than it used to be. There's a specific Steam Deck mode. I also just heard that this port of Cyberpunk took just 7 weeks for CD Projekt Red to get out there, which is good news for Switch 2 ports. It means that they should be pretty easy, but also I'm pretty confident this is just a lot of tech from the Steam Deck port farted over to the Switch 2. So there is a performance mode and a quality mode for this. The performance mode supposedly gets 40 frames per second, and the quality mode gets 30, but it's 1080p, I think. This was already set to quality mode, and it did look like 1080p. I didn't really notice the 30 frames versus 40 frames. That's not that much higher. There weren't many frame dips. It was very consistent, which is very good. There were, however, some frame dips. So I don't think this game looks all that great considering, but it's very stable as far as I played. And I think a lot of people would be happy with this port. When I got home, I immediately booted it up on my ROG Ally X, which means I had to buy this game a second time because I originally had it on Xbox, just to see, because again, very similar 1080p, 120 hertz screen. I limited it to 40 frames, and at 1080p, it's looking pretty damn good on the Ally X running Bazite when I use the Steam Deck settings. So I wouldn't say that the Switch 2's docked performance is better than just an Ally X. I mean, the Ally X is a lot more money. We have to do a lot more testing when the Switch 2 actually comes out, but it seems like the Ally X might edge it out a little bit, which should make sense. It's more money and there's more power in there. The Steam Deck, on the other hand, it still performed pretty well, but it was limited to 800p, which, yeah, of course it's gonna do good at 800p. And still some frame dips. So I think overall the Switch 2 port is looking really nice, but it's not anything, I think, absolutely revolutionary considering they already did the revolutionary thing by putting it on PC handhelds. So it's just a PC port. Next, I ran right over to GameCube and we played Soul Calibur, and Wood kicked my ass and I don't want to talk about it. They got the new GameCube controller. It's exactly the same as a regular GameCube controller. It is Bluetooth, but GameCube looks really nice on here. I've emulated it a million times. It looks just like it does in an emulator with really sharp polygons and really blurry textures like menus. those are going to be blurry. They're not up-resing those or anything. But that's totally fine. That's the nature of the beast here. I did have Wood immediately turn on the CRT filter because I wanted to see what that looked like. And I don't know what I was expecting, but it looks just like some of the other filters on Nintendo Switch Online. It looks kind of just like there's a PNG of scan lines thrown on top of the picture. It looks like decent, but it could be so much better with some of the like RetroArch shaders that we have right now. So it's a little disappointing, but I'm just happy to have GameCube games. Also, they had F-Zero, which is not an easy game to emulate, and it ran absolutely great on here. And I think, oh no, I won. Yay. Yay. And we went over to Metroid, which is another thing I was excited about because that's up to 120 hertz, and it has mouse controls. This was only locked at the performance mode, so only 1080p 120 frames per second. They locked this out of the quality mode, which is fine because I wanted to see the full 120 frames. And it looks very nice and it plays very nice and is very smooth. They also had mouse pads set up. It would have looked a little better and worked a little better with a nice Wulff Den mouse pad over at wolfdenapparel.com. But I gotta tell you, that mouse mode is sick. It instantly changes between controller mode and mouse mode. You just have to point the Joy-Con at the desk and act like you're using a mouse, and you're instantly playing a shooter like you would on a PC. It is kind of awesome, and I think that's how I'm gonna play this game. And it is intuitive, and it feels really good. My only issue is that I was standing at like a standing desk, so there's no like elbow support. I'm not playing games like that. So I need to get that at home. I play most of my games at my desk, so I feel like that's going to feel really good. It feels really bizarre playing a first-party Nintendo game using a mouse. It's crazy. Also, just killing guys in a Nintendo game. Hopefully there's a way to adjust the sensitivity of the mouse. Although the default settings felt kind of fine, I also think it did feel like a little weird, like trying to snap to enemies, but that could also just be, again, that I was standing and not in like a comfortable position. But I'm excited to try this and see it further. I have tried this on the Lenovo Legion Go, and it doesn't feel that good because most games aren't set up for that situation. Like, you still need a keyboard for those games. But for this, you can just intuitively swap back and forth. And the buttons, you still hold them in kind of the same way. So that felt like awesome. I hope that they implement that in Cyberpunk. I hope a lot of games start to implement that. It felt really good. Then I really wanted to try, for some reason, Nintendo Switch to Welcome Tour. This is, I thought, a packing game. Apparently not. No one knows how much it's going to cost, but it is exactly what you think it is. It is mostly an instruction manual. The first thing I did in the game was take a little quiz. Got 100% on it. It's the first time I ever got 100% on a test before, but it's kind of really dumb. There are some mini games, and they're pretty cool. They let you use all the different features of the Switch and the Joy-Con. The first one that I played was this little mouse mode game where you move the little UFO around and try to survive as long as you can. That was pretty cool. The next game that I played was like, try to find the vibration. You like, the Joy-Con HD rumbles more and more until you find the hidden area, and did pretty good there. And the final game that I played before I ran out of time, it was just the original Super Mario Brothers, but each pixel was the size that it is on a modern display. So Mario is really tiny, and it's very hard, but the game grows the farther along you get. So it shows you just how big 4K really is, which is funny, because 4K has been around for a really long time. So Nintendo's acting like they just discovered it. And I guess they kind of did, but this was pretty cool to play. I didn't get to finish it. They kicked me off right before this ended. But another game I saw was a game where you have to guess the frame rate, which was also funny because it was like, is this 20 frames or 120 frames? Which is like, okay, I get it. This game, I want it just because I want to be able to mess around with all the different features of the Switch too. I don't think anybody else should get this. I think that you should not buy this, especially if it's more than $10. It's kind of offensive that Nintendo would sell you an instruction booklet, because that's more or less what it is. I played a little bit of Mario Party Jamboree because I was just bored. And this was another one that used mouse mode. So they enhanced the game, and now it's using Nintendo Switch 2 features. And this, you literally, oh, I got such great B-roll of this. This is literally, you click like Tetris pieces and you make like a little tower as high as you can go. That was pretty cool. And you get to rotate it around, which is something that you don't normally do with a mouse. You don't normally rotate it like in a circular way. So that was pretty cool. Then I just watched Wood play Zelda, and I mean, it looks great at 120 frames per second, 1080p. I'm assuming it's 120 frames. It's very smooth. Again, no noticeable frame dips whatsoever. This, if you showed this to somebody, they would probably think this is an OLED screen. The only giveaway is the deep blacks in the shadows and like Link's shadow and the rock that's right there. But I don't think most people are going to notice that at all. I think the HDR more than makes up for it.
This feels wrong. This feels like I don't want to say the E word, but it feels like I'm E-ing it. It feels wrong in a good way.
I don't think I'll be getting that. I already played Zelda. I don't need any more Zelda in my life. Then I played Mario Party Jamboree again, this time with Wood, and we got to use the camera. The camera is way smaller than you would think that it is. It's like only a little taller than the Nintendo Switch 2 itself. And it also has like an insanely wide field of view. And in this mini game, we were competing against some of the Nintendo employees, and it had us do some dumb shit.
Oh, we're so bad.
I mean, it was fine. I'm never gonna play this. I don't even think I want the camera at all. Actually, you can just plug in a regular camera. I might even see if I could plug this camera in. And that was the last thing we played before the big finale, which was Donkey Kong Bananza. This game feels pretty much exactly like Mario Odyssey, but instead you're Donkey Kong. Almost the whole environment is destructible, so you kind of make your own path. The mechanics differ than Mario Odyssey because you're punching everything, you're changing the environment, you can climb up walls, and you throw stuff at enemies. So the way you interact with the world and the way that you will traverse the world is significantly different than it was in Mario Odyssey. Although you do have that like roll move, there's a lot of similarities. It is a gorgeous game. It looks really nice. It plays really nice. I'm excited to play this. I'm not a Donkey Kong fan, and I think this was really good. I will say, frame rate can't possibly be all that high, and it dipped a lot. Like a lot. Every time a new area opened up, it chugged like crazy. And it's really not the end of the world, because a lot of those areas you're not really playing. It's like a little like mini cutscene. So it's not like really hampering the gameplay at all. Maybe it'll run better in handheld because then it's only 1080p. Again, I wish we got to play a lot more of this stuff in handheld. I don't know how much the performance improves in TV mode because now the resolution's higher. So I'm not sure how this works. I might even prefer lowering the resolution to 1080p in a lot of these games. But unfortunately, we didn't get to play around with the settings at all. So, and then they gave us a backpack and we left.
How much on eBay you think?
I'll give you $10 right now. I feel like I'm at Chili's on my birthday.
I gotta say, I really enjoyed my time there. I think it was a really cool event, and I appreciate everybody who allowed me to go. I am very optimistic about what the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be capable of. I think they're still going to be working on it. There's still time to fix some things. This was very obviously only what they want us to see of the device. Hopefully, handheld mode is decent. Hopefully, there's no glaring issues with handheld mode. Maybe that 120 hertz refresh rate screen is messing things up. Maybe getting 120 frames per second is part of the issue here, and they don't want us to see that. I'm just spitballing here. I'd imagine most people who are getting this want to play in handheld mode. I play most of my stuff docked. I mean, I've been playing these PC handhelds undocked. These PC handhelds, some of them run at a higher wattage when you plug them in. So a lot of them, like the Asus ROG Ally X, I play a lot of games plugged in because you get 5 extra watts. And the Switch is probably going to be a little similar in that regard. The Steam Deck does not do that, at least as far as I know. So I think the Switch 2 is going to edge out the Steam Deck a little bit. I was talking to the Fox over on Twitter, and he made it seem like the Steam Deck version will work better when it's handheld versus handheld. And he also said that the Switch 2 would probably edge it out a little bit when it's docked. And that makes a little bit of sense because the Switch 2 will probably have a little bit of a TDP boost while it's docked. I think, honestly, the Switch 2 might be slightly more powerful overall because the games will be better optimized for it, and they're really trying to show off this 1080p screen. So I'm thinking it might be closer to an ROG Ally. I don't know about an Ally X, though. But really, all things considered, they're all very similar. They're all in the same little boat. A lot of the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff is just going to be the Steam Deck version. And that's not the worst thing because we're getting basically a PC handheld made by Nintendo, and I think that sounds awesome. If you have a PC handheld already, you can play all of the same games on there. It'll be fine. The only things you can't play are the first-party Nintendo games, and that's why I'm excited for this, because I like first-party. Believe it or not, I like first-party Nintendo games. I don't love Nintendo as a company, but they make good games. I don't love what they're doing about these prices, but you know what? I don't blame them really for that. I blame the market and our fucking stupid ass country right now. Pre-orders got delayed. Isn't that fun? Are they going to delay the release of this stupid thing? Are we going to be able to get it for $450 or is it going to be charged up the ass? I didn't vote for this, man. I voted for Kodos. Anyway, I got more questions coming out of this. I'm sure I missed some stuff because this is me ranting. I am starving. I gotta go eat. I had a lot of fun. I got more questions, but I got a lot of answers, and I'm pretty optimistic about what this thing is gonna be capable of, at least in the near future. A few months after launch, there's gonna be some PC handhelds that blow this thing out of the water. But for now, $450 for some pretty decent handheld quality at 1080p, 120 frames per second. Some of the stuff they were able to do kind of blew me away. I think this is gonna be really cool, and we have a really fun new console generation coming ahead of us. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out Encore. I'm giving away a whole Game Boy. Look, it's even got a nice little box. Go check out the Encore app. There's a link in the description below. And thanks for sponsoring this video. I stream on Twitch all the time. You can come yell at me over there about some of the things that I said. And subscribe. The most important thing you can do here is just subscribe. We've been edging 1 million forever. Please tell all your friends. Thank you very much. Have yourself a good week.